Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm back with another video. Like I said, in this video I'll tell you the difference between IELTS and CELPIP. If you remember, you can take either IELTS or CELPIP if you want to come to Canada, or if you're already in Canada and if you have to apply for your citizenship, then you can take either of these tests. So what is the difference, which test you should take? And people are saying that CELPIP is easier as compared to IELTS. So let's see what it is all about. All this information that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to write in the description too. It is from englishforcanada.com, and that's where I've got this information. I did go through other websites and I have my notes from everywhere, but this is basically what my major source has been. So now, which test is easier and why, and there's all these questions around it. So let's see. Now see, for some people IELTS is easy, they're going to clear it in one. For some CELPIP is easy, they're going to clear it in one. You might see people clearing IELTS but not able to clear the other one. So it's completely individual based, I would say. And I have seen many people finding IELTS easy, others finding CELPIP easy, and then it's a little difficult to choose how, on what grounds you can choose. I would say that both the tests require study, both the tests would require preparation, and it's not that you do this one without any prep and you'll go through it. So both would require preparation. So if you need to, let's say, take IELTS general training or the CELPIP, then at the end of the day you are what you have to do is you need to have a CLB, which is Canadian language benchmark, because you're looking forward for a band. Like if you want to come to Canada, then it's 8777. So you're ultimately, the whole aim of which test you should go after is to find out where you can get a good band. Now CLB does not change from one test to another because the CLB levels are standardized. So CLB 7, 8 and 9, okay, so CLB 7, 8 and 9 are same on both the tests. So if you get whether in IELTS or CELPIP, it's the same. So if you get CLB 7, 8, 9, it's CLB 7, 8, 9. It corresponds to the same CLB. Why? No, we can keep it for later. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that again. So where was I? Yeah. So no test is easier because you got to prepare. Now, which CLB do you need? It's important. The band scores you need, again, would depend your decision. So if you want to come to Ontario or if you want to be in express entry, you would need 8777. For others, lesser band would be fine if you're giving IELTS academic, and then they would say, hey, band of 6 would also do, but I think certain colleges do accept 5 also. Now, if you need a CLB 7 or a 8, both exams would be just fine. But a CLB 9 is a high band score and it definitely requires prep for both. So 7 or 8 you can give both, again with preparation. Now it also depends on what is your current proficiency level. So the bigger the gap between your proficiency level and your final objective, the longer time it will take. Let's assume you were studying in English medium school throughout, college was again in English, you're already working, and you use English almost in your daily life. Then as it is, you're little confident in communicating, in conversing and in speaking, right? But let's assume you do not and your work is other way around. That means you have to learn altogether a new language that you're not used to in your daily life. Of course it takes time. How much time it realistically takes, I will be very honest. When I gave my IELTS, I wasn't able to prepare because I just had a kid, and he was just I think, yeah, okay, give me 5 minutes. He was just 40 days or not even 40 days when I actually opened my book and said, hey, I have to review it because I have my exams the next few days. But I wasn't able to focus much for so many reasons. But to be honest, I was pretty confident. Yes, I was a little scared because it is test, end of the day every test is a little scary, and I wasn't sure that, you know, I have been studying in English medium throughout and I was a little nervous. What if I'm not able to get in, you know, what will everyone think? I think that is something that gets into your head. Otherwise I wasn't able to prepare much, but luckily I was able to clear it in my first go. I won't recommend it. Just don't take a chance that, hey, let's also not do it. If you're getting a chance, please prepare well. My circumstance was such that I was not able to, and I had two options: either go and give it or skip it and give it some other time. But I thought I would take my chances and I would go because I was little confident that ways, right? But again, I'm saying please prepare yourself well before you jump into any of these tests. Now, again, few questions that I saw on that site was, is CELPIP listening test easier than the IELTS? If you need CLB 9 for your immigration profile, then it is very challenging whether you take IELTS or CELPIP. The whole idea is you have to prepare. End of the day, you need to prepare no matter which exam you're giving. Now, the CELPIP listening test is longer. It is almost 1 hour, while the IELTS listening test is about 30 minutes. So listening test for CELPIP, like I said, it is little longer, 1 hour. But for IELTS, it is 30 minutes. So this could be the difference if you want, hey, CELPIP is for longer period. So I don't know if it traumatizes people more or something. So if you find it difficult to pay attention, then maybe 1 hour will scare you. And then you'll be like, oh, it'll be done in 30 minutes. So let's just take 30 minutes one, right? Similarly for if I'm going to talk about the format, the CELPIP has 6 sections and IELTS has 4. So it's 1 hour, it's of course spread over different things. Both can be done on the computer now, but the IELTS, IELTS has paper based, and IELTS has just moved from last couple of years to computer based, so it can be done like that. If you choose the IELTS, make sure you choose an exam center with a headset so that you can properly hear your test. The CELPIP test will always include a headset, so that's a difference. The CELPIP test will have a headset. And for IELTS, okay, I was not even aware about this because when I gave my IELTS, it was a paper based and the headset were there. So I thought it's by default. Technically, it should be by default there. Anyways, the CELPIP has 3 different question types while IELTS has 6. The CELPIP always includes a drop down menu, whereas IELTS will have fill in the blank style answer. So that's the difference. It will have a drop down, and in IELTS you're going to have fill in the blanks. This means you can always guess your answer on the CELPIP. It's a huge plus. Why? Because you can see, okay, whether the person said A, B, C or D. But in IELTS, I know when I was giving, IELTS doesn't have that. And they don't repeat. This is for sure. I know they do not repeat. When you listen to something, they're not going to repeat it, and you have to write the moment you're gonna hear what they are saying. Now, since the CELPIP has only a drop down options, you won't have to worry about spelling because you are already selecting the spelling which is there, and you do not need to worry. But when you write yourself, you need to be very sure that you are writing incorrect, not incorrect, you're writing the language correctly, because you have no choice where you can look at it. So you're just hearing the word and you're making sense of what you heard, and then you write it. Moving to accents, the CELPIP test only includes Canadian accents. And the IELTS test includes speakers with a variety of accents like British, American, Australian, and that's the thing. And I would say do not worry about accents, because end of the day you'll be able to catch the words. And even I have said previously, when you speak, you don't have to speak in an accent. You can just speak the way you speak. It doesn't deduct your score. It's like the way you speak. You don't have to flaunt, you don't have to fake any accent to get it. The CELPIP listening test even includes a video. The IELTS does not, that I know. Now sometimes the videos can be a challenge because you have to focus on what the speakers are wearing too, so you better pay attention. So that's the difference. That's the difference between these two. I have not given CELPIP, so I would not have much idea, but that's what I have gained. I think I've always been inclined towards IELTS, considering the people I know, they have been giving IELTS, and I feel it's more comfortable. But if someone has given CELPIP, then they can always come up and they can share. IELTS reading, if we compare IELTS reading and CELPIP reading, then duration for both tests is 1 hour, and they both get progressively more difficult because take it like an unseen passage we used to do in school, except it is not that. The difficulty level is definitely more. CELPIP has 4 sections and IELTS has 3, and CELPIP also includes 1 to 2 practice tasks for test development, but in IELTS it's not that. In both CELPIP and IELTS, you'll have about 40 questions for reading. They both require certain strategies, of course. You have to be very careful while you read. CELPIP has 3 different questions type, while IELTS has over 10. Again, like in listening, it will have a drop down option here, but IELTS will be fill in the blanks. So again, you just do not have any choice. When you have a drop down option, you know you have to choose from these 4 or 5, but in IELTS it's so open and wide, you just need to see what you feel is right. Since you have a drop down, again, spelling is not a concern, but on the other hand, IELTS will take spelling into consideration. Then CELPIP test only includes Canadian topics about every day. Remember, CELPIP listening was also Canadian accents, but here in IELTS it's not related to Canadian topics. Now, since CELPIP is Canadian test, basically you will only see Canadian vocab on the reading test. However, it's not the case. So if you're already in Canada and if you're giving this, it's easy because you're hearing it in your everyday life when you're working or when you're in college, but otherwise it's not the case. Now, which writing test is easier? Again, I don't think any writing test is easier because writing is so subjective. In terms of writing, we would say task 1 is same for both the IELTS and the CELPIP. There'll be a 150-word email or a letter that you have to write with some instructions. On CELPIP, you will have 25 minutes to write your letter, and IELTS, you will have to do it somewhere between 20 minutes. It's almost the same. In writing task 2, IELTS require you to write a complete IELTS essay, but CELPIP will give you a survey response. So ultimately you're writing, and I think writing gets subjective, so you need to be very clear. And I can tell you in a different video how you have to make sure that you are very coherent about your idea. You are not putting in very difficult and fancy words just to show that you know English. It's not about throwing away fancy words. Then let's do the last one, which is speaking. The CELPIP exam is held on a computer with 8 timed tasks, and the IELTS exam is in person with an IELTS speaking examiner. So whether you're giving paper based or you're giving otherwise, it's always in person. And then you don't need to worry about the timer on the IELTS exam, as your examiner will monitor the time. So they have a specific time. This question is for 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. It won't last for more than 12, 13, 14 minutes. CELPIP, you will need to study with a timer, since you will be strictly timed. Like I said, it's 8 predefined tasks. So you need to not worry about it, but it's there. The IELTS topics are about everyday life and about you. The 8 questions on the CELPIP test vary from describing pictures about yourself in different situations. So in IELTS, it is basically you'll be given a situation and then you'll be given a follow. But here it's a timed task with variety of options. The IELTS speaking test range from 11 to 14 minutes, like I said. The CELPIP goes 15 to 20 minutes. Now people will say, hey, what is the difference? It's just 5. But the one who's sitting there, even a 10-second difference would matter to them. So yeah, so overall people would feel that IELTS is easier than CELPIP, but I don't think any is easy. I mean, I don't think choosing is little easy here, that you know what, CELPIP is easier, IELTS is easy. You have to prepare, like I said, for both equally. No matter which exam you're giving, you need to prepare yourself, you need to practice yourself, you need to practice for each and every section. And all the best. And if you need any tips, I'll be right here making more videos. And if you need to specifically ask anything because you have a IELTS test or CELPIP test from the corner, then you can always let me know, because I do help students or homemakers or housewives or anyone practically who give exams of IELTS and CELPIP. So just let me know and then I'll be able to help you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.